The Gold Cup is right around the corner, but before then, the U.S. have a pair of friendlies starting Saturday as the United States take on Türkiye at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on TNT, and two tough friendlies at that. So, Pablo, when you look at who the United States have lined up, what does this reflect for the U.S.?
Look, in '94, last time the U.S. hosted a World Cup, they had a residency. They played 21 games. There was no shortage of opponents, obviously. This go-around, it's a little bit different. They don't have to qualify. There's definitely, for the rest of the year and into next year, going to be a shortage of sort of competitive, meaningful matches. I mean, Gold Cup is the last competitive tournament they play in. These two games, against very decent opponents, might be the last two games they play ahead of maybe the send-off, against top-level Euro talent. So I think they're, it's a highly important, couple of games, obviously. Be curious to see how it leads them in the Gold Cup.
Yeah, and that's what the United States desperately need, Jalil. So when you look at these upcoming friendlies, yeah, they're just friendlies. These feel like two of the most important friendlies that the U.S. men's national team has played in a while. What's success going to look like for you watching this team?
Yeah, obviously in this match, it's defined as a friendly because we don't have any other verbiage for it. But there is nothing friendly, nice about these competitions leading into the World Cup. For me, you're looking for inspiring performances. You're looking for gritty performances. Mm-hmm. You're looking for, at all costs, we're doing anything we need to do to get a result.
Yeah.
And what would be success for me in the friendlies leading into Gold Cup is exactly that, something that inspires the group to go on to win Gold Cup and then leaves the fans, us as pundits, saying, okay, this group is showing a lot of signs of improvement from Nations League and building momentum going into the World Cup. That's what we're all looking for.
I mean, there's also, obviously we're, a year out from the World Cup, more or less. There's still spots up for grabs, obviously. Mm-hmm. Players have something to prove as well. I mean, looking to see huge performances out of guys. The team mentality, the exact same, mirror of that with individuals. You want to see guys who are fighting for those last few spots.
Yeah, especially because the mentality, the competitiveness, those were the things that were brought into question in the Nations League, not even just by the people analyzing the games, but the players themselves talking about that. You would hope that that's not the position the team would be in with the World Cup so close, but alas, here we are. And Master, it is a very good test in Türkiye, who have some really strong players to look out for as well.
Some really strong players and a great run that they had in Euros as well, as you saw the inspiration that they found from a lot of your youngsters. And this is what we think will be the projected starting 11 here with Jalil, obviously coming off of a disappointing Champions League final with Inter. He's the mainstay, the veteran presence there in the midfield, someone that can take penalty kicks as well. We expect to see him in the starting 11, though there could be some rotation here. There's no guarantee there that he could start, but he's usually a mainstay in a fixture for this team as the voice and leader. Kenan Yildiz as well on the left side, 20 years old, brilliant at Juventus, such a bright, promising future for him ahead as well. Him on the left side, but Arda Güler, for me, what he did at Euros was just absolutely tremendous. And you see him on the right side there. He can also play the 10 at Real Madrid, but we saw him playing on the right side, especially for Mbappe and lately Real Madrid as well. He loves to get on that left foot, and we saw him score some brilliant goals in the Euros, one of the goals of the year as well in Euros. So this team right here, it's going to create a great test, particularly defensively for the U.S. men's national team as they try to stop and minimize these two 20-year-olds that you'll see on the outsides.
Mm-hmm. And Güler, Jalil, is just a really special talent. You were kind of going through some of the film. So what have you seen from him? What did the U.S. have to look out for?
Yeah, just his ability to displace any left side of the defense that he's going up against. If you see here, the bottom of your screen, he picks up an excellent inside position. That is going to confuse any outside back because you want to be able to defend inside out. But because he's floating in that inside pocket, do you go, do you not? And now you have no ability to get goal side, and he can go straight here into Mbappe's feet. But look at the weight and the direction of the pass where Mbappe just needs to take a prep touch, calm, cool, collected finish into the bottom corner. And then here he's going to go from facilitator to goal scorer. But look on the left-hand side of your screen. He's just lurking. Any defense is going to be ball focused in this moment because you're in crisis defending and you sometimes forget about where the most dangerous players are. Again, he is a facilitator first, but he can hurt you on the score sheet. He's looking to facilitate first and foremost, but then he sizes things up. Yes, he has an option, top box, but what a very good goal scorer and a chance creator is going to do is going to look to get to a very advantageous spot, and then the finish cuts across the grain, difficult for any goalkeeper to get back across.
And here's a look at Guler's stats. Important note, these are since April 13th. So 4 goal contributions in 9 appearances and 7 starts. He's been efficient with some of those moments for Real Madrid. And for the United States, one of the big storylines around this camp, of course, has been some of the names that are not there and also some of the players that have a big opportunity in front of them to perhaps take hold of some positions, like you mentioned, Pablo, that are still up for grabs. So here's a look at the projected lineup for the U.S. men's national team. Jalil, take us through it.
Yeah, first and foremost, let's start on this left-hand side, because in Nations League, there was really no natural left back in the camp when Anthony Robinson had to drop out. Arsene was called back in after that injury. He is more that natural left back. Is it going to be him or Tim Ream? If you're talking about athleticism, youthful exuberance, this is exactly why we have Arsene starting. If we go into the net, you have a situation where Zach Steffen has to drop out. Unfortunately for the homie, shout out, quick recovery, but he was on the ascendancy. Turner, we know what he can do. He hasn't been in the best form because he hasn't gotten a lot of minutes this season on the club level, but can he elevate himself? Because it looks like it's going to be him between the sticks. The two guys here in the middle, Richards has been absolutely killing it for Crystal Palace, or FA Cup title, Mark McKenzie has been doing very well for Toulouse, 1 goal, 1 assist this season. The biggest one on the back line is Dest, returning from injury. Yes, PSV had an excellent season, hoisting the trophy, winning the Eredivisie. He gets back. He has under 10 appearances this year via injury. In the middle here, Johnny Cardoso linked with Atletico. Can he continue that momentum in with the national team? Because we've wanted more from him, but I love what he's been doing for country. Tyler Adams has been absolutely amazing. When you push on into the front end of the team, Luna has been Poch's most favorite player, most talked about player, because he has that gravitas that we're all looking for with the national team here. And for me, when you go out to the right-hand side, Aronson has been excellent for Leeds. He can interchange with Tillman because he plays the 10-4 Leeds here, but Tillman is lovely in that pocket, was amazing for PSV this season. And it's going to be a toss-up for me. Is it Adjimang? Is it Wright? Either way, both the forwards are in very good form. Adjimang is coming off a goal against Toronto and has been on a heater for Charlotte all season.
Pablo, who are you higher on? And when we talk about the striker position, because that has been a conversation for years, really, so many different players in the mix. No one's really taken hold of it. Adjimang, one of those new names. Haji Wright, has also been in the mix. But if you look at those two guys stacked up compared to one another, who would you give this slight edge to?
Adjimang, honestly, just because of recent form, and I think I think Pochettino publicly even sort of has maybe favored him a little bit. That's shown a tendency sometimes to favor guys like him, like Diego Luna, guys who are a little younger, hungrier, even MLS guys, right, who still sort of have something to prove. So, I think it's his spot to lose in a way. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say the biggest thing for me is that Patrick Adjimang is in an excellent way, and he looks like he could be one of the players that if he continues on this ascendancy, he could make himself a player where it's like, why am I not the one that is going to be the flag bearer when it comes World Cup time? But Haji Wright has been doing well too. Oftentimes we've been talking about there is really no inspiring number 9 for the U.S. men's national team. So to have two that are in a relatively good way collectively, I like that. So whether Poch goes with Adjimang or Wright to start, I'm going to be a happy camper, to be fair.
Look, we know that he will foster that competition. Again, that is probably up for grabs type of deal, so, yeah.
Yeah, and I think what's also going to be important is if Luna is a player that Poch is so high on, who combines the best with him? Who has the best relationship on the field? How does that, continue to show in these friendlies and beyond? And Master, I saw you kind of pumping your fist there when Jalil was talking about Serginho Dest, who makes his return, which is just massive for the United States. But the question would be, how quickly can he get back into the form he was in before he suffered that knee injury?
Yeah, it's great to see. And obviously with these kind of injuries, it takes 12 to 18 months typically to see him at their peak return. But it was just great to see him back on the field, even with PSV and the minutes that he was getting, the few minutes that he was getting, just the opportunity for him to get back on the pitch after such a long absence. And for me, he's a quality talent, especially there at fullback for them. So it's going to take some time, and obviously I don't know how long he would play in this game, and obviously you don't want to risk that in terms of further injury as well, but just to see him out there for me, I'm just super excited and super happy to see that. As for Tyler Adams as well, as we've seen him dealing with the injuries back and forth as well, and him building up on what we've seen from him and getting those opportunities. I know injuries for a lot of these guys and the promises that we've seen have been a deterrent, so those two guys for me are really important to see, and that pairing with Adams and Cardoso, I'm really excited to see that continue to develop and what's possible with those two, because we want to see more from Cardoso on the U.S. men's national team, because we've seen a lot from him at Real Betis, but hopefully with him and Adams. That's such a great pairing talent-wise that I'd love to see it live up to his potential.
What will be interesting for me is how much and how effectively do the outside backs overlap and join in the attack, because there aren't any true natural wingers in this camp. Brandon Aronson is probably the one that can play that wing position in a more natural facet, but even he likes to cut inside, likes to join in the box, get in on service on the back end. So does that allow Dest, who is excellent at getting forward, to do that as well? Same thing on the flip side. Diego Luna, yes, he often plays out on the left for Pablo Mastroeni, but he loves to cut inside. He can play that 10 role as well and fill in. Arfson, as we know, for Wilfred Nancy, he plays as a left winger. So when they're in the attacking phase, you would like to think that they have two capable outside backs to join in the attack, but you always have to be aware of how exposed that leaves you on the back end. So that's why the organization from Chris Richards and Mark McKenzie will be absolutely vital.
Look, and I think Arfson gives you a little bit more dynamic play going forward than maybe a Tim Ream, obviously. Highly astute player, but I mean, I think age-wise and maybe mentality-wise, is a little bit of a difference there. So that'll be interesting to see as well.
Yeah,
and Matt
absolutely.
Turner, the test he's going to have with the youngsters, as we mentioned in Türkiye, like this is a great opportunity for him to get back and get his opportunities with the U.S. men's national team. And as he figures out what his future looks like in the summertime with the club, can he get back into form and get these opportunities? Because there's going to be some chance for him to make some big saves.
Honestly, with Matt Turner, it's not even like getting back into form. It's just this is one of his lone opportunities that he's even getting. So on the flip side of that, yeah, if he has a great showing, good, build some confidence, kind of solidify your spot as the main guy for the U.S. men's national team. But on the other side of that, if he makes some big mistakes or just isn't looking sharp, then that creates a really interesting question.
I mean, Turner's just shaking the cobwebs off it.
Yeah.
That's no disrespect.
No,
they're just minutes.
We did some grading on USMNT players, and Nico Cantor was like, I can't even grade this guy. He hasn't played, so it's hard to even say. Going to be really interesting to see just where he's at in this game. That first moment of action for him is going to be really crucial to watch.